Hi, I'm Patu from FreeFinCal. So Motilal Oswal has launched four index funds and all of them on the same date. I don't know why. That's baffling. But anyway, let's have a look at Motilal Oswal Nifty 500 fund. They claim that this is the first Nifty 500 fund. That is not true. Goldman Sachs had a CNX 500, which is the earlier version of the Nifty 500. They had an index fund tracking that. They closed it down, and when they sold it to Reliance, that Reliance merged that meager AUM of about 50 crores to their to the Reliance Nifty fund. So this is not the first Nifty 500 index fund. That is wrong. And in their presentation, they have compared this to S&P 500. That is again wrong. S&P 500 is 500 large caps. This fund is I mean, in India, I don't think there are even more than 10 or 15 proper large caps. So this fund has got 100 large caps, 150 mid caps, and 250 small caps in it. Please do not get missold into thinking or missell yourself the idea that you're buying the whole market and you're getting a better diversification. That is completely untrue. I will explain why you should avoid this fund and stick to a proper Nifty 50 index fund. So the first thing to recognize is that this is a market capitalization weighted fund, and if you look at AMFI, they give you the market weights. Notice how the market cap of the top 500 NSE stocks drop down. It just drops vertically down. Just the top, the first stock, second stock, third stock, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, and then it just tails off like that. So basically, the top 10 or the top 15 stocks would have the highest weight in the Nifty 50. It will also have the highest weight in Nifty 500. Please recognize that the Nifty 500 would have the same top 50 stocks as Nifty 50 because it's part of it. So because of that, if you actually look at the top 10 stocks in July 2019 of Nifty 50, look at those weights there. HDFC Bank was 10% more than that, and Reliance Industries, etc., 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 etc. So in the Nifty 50, the top 10 alone is 61.8%. The remaining 40 stocks have got only 38% representation. If you look at Nifty 500, again you will have the same top 10 stocks. Again, the weights are significant, and if you look at it, the top 10 stocks of a 500 stock index takes up 43.76% of the weight. All right, so basically you're buying a glorified version of the Nifty 50, and do not assume that you're buying the entire market. You're basically not doing that. And please recognize that if you go to the Nifty this Motilal Oswal Nifty 500 scheme document, you will get the full weights, current weights. And if you study that carefully, Nifty 500 is 82.75% Nifty 100. So it's basically primarily a large cap index. It's got about 12% of mid caps and 4% of small caps. That's not really buying the whole market. Okay, that's complete nonsense. So don't believe that and get fooled about it. So now let's have a look at the evolution of Nifty 500 and Nifty 50. These are the dividends included total returns index. If you look at this graph, it gives you the feeling, wow, look at that, Nifty 500 has grown higher than Nifty 50. Not so fast. Okay, you have to look deeply. Don't get fooled by such representations. You have to look at the returns, every possible returns carefully. So these are 10-year returns. There are 2,535 10-year return data points in the yellow line, which is Nifty 500, and the blue line, which is Nifty 50. So notice that since about August 2013 or so, both 50 and the 500 index, both of them, the returns are more or less typically similar. The reason is the Nifty 500 outperforms Nifty 50 only when the large mid caps and the small caps do well. When they don't do well, and they often don't do well, then the returns fall down the same. So out of these 2,535, more than half the number of times the Nifty 50 has got a similar return than the Nifty 500. And this is the case for 5 years also. This is again for 5 years. You can see here, this is because of the bull run before 2008. This is because of the recent bull run, and then it drops down. So you can't bet on it to always beat Nifty 50. So don't do that. Don't assume that. And in terms of risk, yes, if you look at the risk, this is amusing. I mean, I thought it would be a little better than this. Even in terms of the rolling risk, that is, if you look at the standard deviation for every possible 5 year period, that's like 3,779. The Nifty 500 volatility or the standard deviation is more or less comparable to the Nifty 50. So you're not doing anything great by buying the Nifty 500 index fund. So my suggestion is there's nothing beneficial in terms of significantly beneficial in terms of risk or reward by buying the Nifty 500. My suggestion is stick to a well-established, low-cost Nifty 50 index fund, not ETF. If you are convinced about its tracking error, so you can choose one of that Nifty 50 ETF or index fund, provided you are comfortable about the trading volumes and the tracking error and so on. Use a combination of Nifty 50 and Nifty Next 50 indices in different proportions to create large cap or mid cap index funds. I have a video on this. I have a post on this. Please look at that. I have also talked about how you can combine Nifty Next 50 with active funds. So there's really no need when you have all these established players available. Managing a 500 stock index is a lot more harder. The tracking error will be more. Please recognize that. And the AUM, we don't know how much it will have AUM. The AUM has to come from distributors. It's amusing that investors want to invest in an index fund in their regular plan. This is ironic, but that's how the world is. So, and in the cover page, you can see that Motilal Oswal claims it's the first Nifty 500 fund. That is completely untrue. This is the link to the Goldman Sachs annual report where they have shown the details of the CNX 500 index fund, and you can see that is about the tracking error of the Nifty 500 index fund is about CNX 500 is about 40% more than the Nifty 50. So if the AUM is low, the tracking error is low, then that may even pull down returns even further. So there's really no reason for you to buy this. Don't get excited about every NFO. Oh God, this is so childish. I am doing this video because people watch. I mean, I don't know. I feel icky making videos like this. It's silly, but that's life. So have a look at this post for other details. Stay away from this Nifty 500 index fund. We will talk about the Nifty mid cap 150 index fund and the Nifty small cap 250 index funds in the coming videos. What do you think I'll say? So I'll catch you again later. Bye bye.